That's one surefire way to make sure that you don't miss it, huh, Calhoun? You just knock that puppy off when you get down to 5. Hey, everybody. I'm Tommy Scoville, and you're on the Lifeboat. It's so nice to see so many of you lovely people here tonight, right? It is it's always nice. The night boat is um, good stuff. We got through the day, right? It's always a little, I don't know. I always feel a bit triumphant when the day is over, you know? I always feel like I got through another one. I realize there's still a little bit more left to go, but I always feel like, you know what, there's another 24 in the rearview mirror, and that's really what we're all about. I want to apologize, people. It's part of the game, you know. I got to do this about once every couple of days. I'm not putting them up in the comment section anymore because it's getting a little embarrassing, right? I'm starting to look like one of those dudes who has to apologize every 5 minutes, right? And well, damn, that's embarrassing. So what I'm doing is I'm sneaking these rascals in on a normal thumbnail, right? Coming in under the radar. So you're really going to have to be somebody that knows the Lifeboat and sticks around enough to watch the Lifeboat to actually get any kind of a shot at a legit apology around here, right? I think that's fair. But we're going to be doing a sorry, goodness, we're going to be doing I swear to you people, I am struggling a little bit here, but we're going to be doing an apology. When I was a kid and I started this public speaking thing, I was really, really young, and I want to tell you something. This is no joke, right? We used to have these competitions before you went on stage where you would hand somebody a piece of paper and it would be folded in half. And right before you would walk out on stage, you would open it. And it would just be the most ridiculous word or phrase or whatever. And you had to work it into what you were talking about in the first 30 seconds, right? Not an easy thing to do, but we had a pool and we all threw money in it. And sometimes those, it would get very, very large. I tell you this because the point is, no matter what was going on around you, you always knew what you were doing. You always could basically weave in and out of what you do, and it was awesome because you could clown and you could have an awful lot of fun. You really could, and it made what we did it made what we did a lot of fun, in spite of the fact that it was pretty sleazy stuff and you live on the road, and you know there was a lot of drawbacks to what we did, but it was the silly crap like that that made stuff fun. And I happen to have had a memory that was maybe just a little better than the next guy's. So I could usually hop from my show to someone else's show and do theirs if by some chance that person ended up, you know, not feeling well or whatever. I usually knew everybody else's script. It was just kind of how I was built, and I'm not anymore. You know, the traumatic shots to the head and the cerebral infarction and all of that stuff has taken its toll. And I just I certainly can't weave in and out the way that I used to. And you know, one of the parts that made the Lifeboat an awful lot of fun is the interaction that I do with the people in the crowd. But as it turns out, it bums out a lot of you. It bums out a lot of you who would be considerably happier if I could maybe pick a thread that has something to do with recovery and maybe weave it in and out of the subject matter as I go. And by the just for the record, I used to do that really well. Honestly, go back and watch the first season. It was kind of remarkable how I could always kind of bend it back in like Beckham. These days, I don't always remember, and I've not been the kind of cat that spent a lot of time working with notes or with bullet points or things like that. But part of getting older and changing, and part of becoming something new, I guess, is you know, changing how you do things. It's pinch depressing because I would very much like to know what you guys are talking about in the comment section. And there are things that will take place in the comment section that it's going to make it look like Tommy doesn't care as much as he used to, and that's a bit of a bummer, right? But if we're going to follow a thread through the entire process, and from what I understand, it wasn't one or two people. It was something that was catching a little momentum. So we're going to talk tonight about relapse prevention, and I'll tell you something. This is a big one, people. It really is, because it doesn't matter if you've been sober 15 minutes or if you've been sober for 6 or 8 weeks, right? It's going to make no difference whatsoever, because relapse prevention is relapse prevention. And the other thing that is odd is relapse is going to happen the same way to every single person. You got 100 years of sobriety or you got 100 days of sobriety. When you start to relapse, it's going to happen to everybody the exact same way. Starts out emotionally, right? And the crazy thing about the emotional stage of relapse is that you're probably not going to be aware of the fact that it's happening. Truly. Very often, this is just going to be kind of setting the stage, if that makes sense. Emotionally, you just start feeling like you're off, right? We've said in the past, this is kind of you're starting to feel a little uncomfortable in your own skin. You're starting to feel like you're less than, right? It's also the canary in the coal mine. This is the first spot at which you can go, whoa, right? Something bad is happening. And at that point, you're going to have to step up to the plate. If you stop it there, right, beautiful things are going to happen. However, realistically, that doesn't always happen. And very often what that's going to do is it's going to slide us into the second phase of this, And the second phase is a mental relapse. And once the brain kicks in, you're in trouble. Because in this stage, there's causing a cognitive struggle between the desire to use and the commitment to sobriety. Think about it in terms of the battle versus good and evil. Literally, think about the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other. This is literally that point, right? When we get to the mental part of this, we're doing this, right? We're doing this number, no lie. Inside of us, we're struggling. And the devil's going, oh, come on, man. Seriously, how bad does life suck right now? Seriously, how many people crapped on you today? How many people made you feel horrible about who you are today? How fast could you turn that off, right? And then you got the other side going, are you kidding me? How many years of sobriety do you have? How fantastic is life? How good is it to drive home from work and not stop to have to buy a fifth, man? How great is life? But if that's happening, people, you're in deep doo-doo. You do realize this, right? If this is happening, you're in deep doo-doo. By that point, you are progressing to what we call the behavioral part of relapse. And the behavioral part of relapse gets frightening. This is where the actual use takes place. But once again, you may not understand this is happening until it does. I've told the story before. With me, I don't relapse by driving over to your house and going, bust that crap out. Let's put some in my vein. You guys got some tin foil? Let's get high. I don't do that. I drive over to the person's house. I sit down and I talk to them. Hey, what's going on, man? What's happening with you? Hey, you want to get high? No, I don't want to get high. I'm not doing any of that stuff, man. I got my life in order. I just want to come over here and show you just how much I've got my life in order. That's all. And then, like I said, I went back the next time. How you doing, man? Hey, the dope man's about to be here. You sure you don't want a couple sacks? No, man. I'll tell you what, though. Hey, get yourself a couple extra. Right? Have a couple on me. How cool am I? I'm doing this one. Woo! Slapping myself on the back. What, are you kidding me? I was in the room when the dope man showed up. I had the ability right then to buy it, have it in my hand, pull the trigger, right? This is a go. This is literally a go. This is the opportunity for me to do what I do. But If you're not hitting the brakes right then, people, then it's too late. If you're not calling your 5 right then, it's too late. We don't talk about this enough on the Lifeboat. We really don't. But what happens when it's too late? What happens when you're at that guy's house the 3rd time and he goes, hey, man, you don't just want to taste? I mean, this crap ain't even going to get you wasted. Keep it real, dog. I'm not talking about cooking you up 50 cents. I'm talking about taking a key bump, right? Put a little on the edge of a key. Give this a sniff. Come on, man. And you know what? You go, yeah, what the F? Funny thing is, you didn't say, yeah, what the F right then. You said, yeah, what the F 6 weeks earlier, or 8 weeks earlier, or a year earlier, right? All of those dominoes had to fall in a row. And every single one of them, at every single one of those turns, you had an opportunity to grab the e-brake. You had an opportunity at every single one of those junctions to go, hey, I got to stop, man. I'm rolling. I'm getting out of control. What the hell am I doing? Okay? But we don't. We don't. Today, I've got your comments turned off. But I'll bet you $500,000 that people are saying, oh, man, I've been there. Okay? Oh, man, I've been there. I remember those first lines or those first key bumps. Man, it's just a taste. You ain't going to do it. Right? You're going to do enough to get high. Just the smell, man. I just want to smell what that smells like. See, when that grinding happens between reality and BS, it takes away all of the pain, man. I'm going to feel fantastic. For 8 hours, everything's going to be perfect. I won't have to deal with any of the BS in my life. That starts grinding on this, right? This is, hey, keep it real, Tommy. You're going back to prison. Now, keep that real. You're going to go back to prison. This is what happens when you do dope. You're going back to prison. And this time you're never going to get out. Come on. Holy crap. I'm not saying let's do it every day for the next 6 months. You got 8 years and some change. You're going to tell me with everything you know about sobriety right now that you couldn't just pop off a quick one? Come on, man. Structure it in such a way. You're not stupid. Get the dope and go out of town. Go somewhere where, man, we can set this up. If that's happening, you realize how screwed you are? For real. How in hell did you get there? Right? How did you get there? You got there because the emotional part of your life got wildly out of whack. Right? The emotional part of your life got wildly out of whack. You found yourself walking around like this. No joke. Been there? Right? Ever leave a room like that? Mother God, help. Right? Guess what? That's not normal. That's not normal. Significant other leaves the room. You ever find yourself outside literally gritting your teeth going, right? Guess what? That's not normal. That's not normal. You feel me? When the emotional stuff starts getting way out of whack, your football team, right? American football, your American football team misses a field goal by 3 feet to the left on a game you don't even have money on, right? And it ruins 3 days of your life. Guess what? You're out of whack. You're out of whack. And the next stage is going to be your brain taking over. Yeah, man, let's just get high. Just one day, man. Super Bowl's coming up, right? We can have a couple of beers. For real. We've made it what, 5 years? 5 years saying no every day. Why would I not be able to say no the next day? Of course I could do that, right? People, if that conversation has taken place inside your brain, it's because you let phase 1 get all the way to phase 2. You let the emotional, right, get all the way in there and start getting into the mental. Now you got into the, ooh, uh-oh. Now we're thinking about it. So why aren't you calling everybody? Why aren't you calling every single person you know? Even in phase one, when your emotions are just not right? When you're just out of whack. When you say, I started thinking about my ex today. You remember the one that I told you? I'd be really happy if she drove off a cliff. I just started crying out of the blue for about 20 minutes, man. I was just sobbing. Well, is that normal for you? Does that normally happen for you? Well, no. Well, then maybe we need to talk about that. If something in your emotional life gets wildly out of whack, maybe you need to address that, right? If what's happening to you emotionally is abnormal like a big dog, then start talking to people, right? Start talking to people who are professionals. Start talking to people who are peer support, right? Start talking to people to keep you from getting to the mental phase, right? Because I got news for you. If you get to the mental phase, now it's getting a little tougher, right? You don't have to be a genius to figure this one out, right? Remember those Pinewood Derbies? I want you to picture a vehicle with 4 wheels, no brakes, and a big hill, right? Once that thing starts rolling, we would like to catch it before those wheels make 2 or 3 turns, right? In the emotional part of this. Because if we allow the brain to start doing this one, we're in deep doo-doo. It's going to get a lot harder to write the shit. Feel me? It's going to get a lot harder to write the shit. Doesn't mean it's the end of the game, though. But if you go, oh, you know what? It's okay. He gets like this. You know what I mean? It's a football season thing. That works tough. He gets like this. And yeah, you know what? He's drinking more than he normally does. But you know what? This happens. Times a year. Cut him some slack. Honestly. Right? It's not that big a deal, man. He's not going to go back to what he was. He's had what? 2 beers, 3 beers. Guess what, people? Guess what? It's going to get ugly. It's going to get really, really ugly. And the question becomes, hold on, people. I'm struggling. I do appreciate your patience. Thanks. Once you start struggling, once this starts picking up momentum, you know how much harder it is to grab a hold of this thing, dig your heels in and try to help your friend? Huh? It gets really hard. And right around the time that person starts to, right around the time that person starts to use, our job becomes next to impossible, right? Our job literally becomes next to impossible. And let's keep it really straight, right? We got an uphill battle anyway. Right? There's literally no winning. You do understand this. There's no winning. I'm going to do everything I can over the course of the next hour to very much stay on subject, as if I was a college professor. And what's going to happen is I'm going to get emails from people that say, you got any idea how much I need you to actually interact with people in the comment section? Do you know how much I need you to say these people's names? Because it makes things real for me. We live in a world where no matter what we do, there are going to be people who are going to be really bummed out. Right? There's not going to be a way to make all of the people happy all of the time. There really aren't. So I guess what we're going to try to do is I'm going to do everything within my power to stick to a subject matter as best as possible. I really am going to do everything within my power to stick to a subject matter. One of the things that will probably make that easier is if I'm not reading comments. And I'll be honest with you. It's a bummer turning off comments for multiple reasons. Number one, I feel like I'm not interacting with the audience, right? That's a bummer. And number two, it makes my job a hell of a lot more difficult. You know what I'm saying? A good deal of that 1 hour is riffing off of back and forth between the captain and crew, right? And Spanky and crew, or whoever in crew. It kind of is one of those things. But apparently, you play the numbers, folks. You play the numbers game, and that's currently what we're doing. So the relapse and relapse prevention. There are very few things, people, that are more difficult than trying to park yourself, right, in a position to help someone who you're watching backslide, right? You have to know that they hate you, right? Sad but true. The fact that you want to help them makes them hate you. What your help tells them is, this person wants to take away the only thing on earth that makes me feel good. This person wants to take the only thing on earth that is going to allow me to feel even comfortable in my own skin for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever. You understand? I mean, that's really what we're talking about. Very often when people quit using drugs, there is a postpartum that happens, right? For me, opiates and heroin in particular were my best friend for 30 years, right? Just under 3 decades. You got any idea what it's like when that goes away? Seriously. How many of you have a best friend that you have been with every single day of your life for 30 years? And then one day you're told you can never say hello to him ever again. You're never going to be able to talk to him ever again. He can't come by. He can't hang out with your friends. In fact, you can't even have a pleasant memory of him again. You can't even look back on him with any kind of, hey, you know what? That was kind of fun. You can't. If you do, you will start down a road that will end with you doing something that will lead you right back to a lifestyle that, statistically speaking, 8 out of 10 people are going to fall back into anyway, right? It's a bummer. Really is. It's a bummer. So the question becomes, are you good enough? Are you smart enough? Do you have your you-know-what enough together to be watching yourself, right? Critically watching yourself, to be on the lookout for the first 3 phases of addiction. I'm sorry, of relapse, right? I got news for you. Ain't going to happen. It's very difficult to see, especially in the beginning, when your emotions just start going a little haywire. Do you know what that looks like? It looks like maybe you're a little depressed. It looks like maybe you're fighting with your girl a little bit, or guy a little bit. Or maybe you're not getting along with your family, Maybe there's some stuff that we don't know about, health related. There could be so many things that can cause someone to look a little off emotionally. But being a little off emotionally is the precursor, right, to relapse. So it's hard to see in ourselves. Your best of friends, honestly, your best of friends will spot it. They will. It's one of the reasons it is so important to have a support group of people, to build a group of people who are actually going to care. It's huge. You have to have those people. You also have to be willing to talk to them. And guess what? When you bail on those people, right? If it's Spanky and I'm calling him, hey, Spanks, what's going on? Yeah, I can't talk to you right now. Been busy as hell, man. Give me a call in about 2 or 3 days. I call him in 2 or 3 days. Hey, Spanky, how you been? Boy, I'll tell you what, man, you have no idea. New job is a hassle and the kids got the flu, but it's been great talking to you, right? No. Because the first thing we do is we isolate, right? First thing we do is isolate. We know this. Well, obviously, That is a huge red flag emotionally. If someone stops hanging out with the people that they normally hang out with and they begin to isolate, guess what's happening? Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're on drugs. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It necessarily means bad things are happening, right? Isolation's never good. If your best friends are disappearing and they're not talking to you anymore, that's bad. Isolation is bad 100 out of 100 times. This is why I hate cults. Right? Get it? This is why I hate cults. And I always will, by the way. You know, I don't think hating people who are mean to anybody, you should have to be licensed for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fan. I'm a fan of taking shots at people who preach hate, especially if they preach hate to children. Get that? If you do not have a group of people around you to watch you, then chances are you're going to have a much easier time sliding from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3 of relapse. Well, Tommy, I just don't hang out with people. Well, frickin' start hanging out with people, right? Start building yourself a group of people that you're going to talk to, that you're going to hang out with, who are going to watch you, because it's real freaking easy to relapse alone. It is. It's easy as hell to relapse alone. It's a hell of a lot harder to relapse if I happen to be there, right? If I'm watching you, you're probably not going to relapse, at least without really getting your chops busted a lot, right? And there's a lot of people here who would be in the exact same boat, right? A lot of people here that you're just not going to slide one by. You know, I don't know if Tommy Bird's in the comment section. We shared the same substances. I don't think you're going to slide one by Tommy, right? Building a support group of people who understand what it is you've been through. When you start doing really screwy things, phase 1, phase 2, emotional, mental, they're going to jump on you. Both boots, up and down. What in hell is going on with you? What is wrong with this picture? You follow me? This makes sense? If you want to make sure, right? If you want to make sure that you're going to do everything within your power to make your friends safer from relapse, be sure you're in their life constantly. Be sure you are checking in with them constantly. Be a part of their life daily. It doesn't have to be a crap load of it. Just phone call. Hey, how you doing, man? You know how it is. Yeah, can't talk right now. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't take too many of those people. I promise. Right? If you don't intend to be your brother's keeper, that's cool. That's cool. It is. Then don't be part of their 5. Right? Don't give it that lip service BS. If you don't intend to actually help this person pop out on the other side, don't lie to them and say you're gonna. Right? If you're not going to take that phone call at 1:45 a.m., roll over and not go, what kind of idiot calls me at 1:45 a.m., right? No, you roll over and go, hey, Brad, what's up, man? You haven't done it yet, have you? All right, we're okay then. Right? If you haven't done it yet, we're okay. We can talk our way through this. You ain't done it, right? Okay, good. Let's talk. If you don't have a support group in place, that's not going to happen. Right? It's not. You have to have a group of people in place. And for those that say, you know what, it is so hard to find those people, with all due respect, bullshit. Put some effort into it and watch how fast you find those people. They're not going to come to your door and kick it in. Yo, what's up? My name is Tommy, and I'm here to be part of your 5. Does not become like that, man. Doesn't work like that, right? You got to go to places where people like this hang out. You have to introduce yourself. Hey, man, what happens to be your drug of choice, right? My drug of choice was opiates. I'm looking to assemble a group of people, knowing full well that this is a mother you-know-what of a drug. And there may be some times I got to call you at some ugly hours of the day. And if that's too much to handle, I'm not mad at you. I'm not. But how about letting me know that right now? So that when I ask the next person and I say, hey, bro, if I got to call you at 2:30 a.m., You know what I mean? Is that going to be way outside the realm of possibility, or can you take that one? Huh? Or can you take that one? And if the person says, yeah, you know what, I can take that one. Excellent. Right? That's how you got to build it. Is it easy? Is anything worth a fart easy? Holy hell, for real. Is anything worth anything easy? Find one. Okay? Find two. These things got unbelievable ways to get a hold of you, right? You got texts, you got emails, you got probably 15 things I've never friggin' heard of that my kids could tell you about. Okay. There's a lot of places you can pop at any given time, right? There's Discord servers that there are people in. There's Facebook groups, got 800 or some whatever number of people in it. There are people, places everywhere at all times where if you are hurting and all you need is for someone to listen, I promise you, we have made it to a point where it's real hard to say, I couldn't find anyone to listen, Kat. I couldn't. It's probably not likely. I ain't saying it can't happen. I'm saying it's highly unfreaking likely. And we are going to continue to do everything within our power to make sure that the numbers continue to grow so that ripcord is always there. Nevertheless, that's not the game plan. The game plan is to have a group of people who know you so they know you, right? If I call Alan Ballantyne and I say I'm hurting, he's not going, oh, I wonder if the guy wants to go get some beers, right? Alan Ballantyne is very aware of what hurting means to me, right? And if I say I'm having problems with X, Y, and Z, he knows X, Y, and Z. He knows why X, Y, and Z bother me. You feel me? So if I call and I go, I feel uncomfortable in my own skin, I don't have to waste 45 minutes on an international call trying to explain the unexplainable. He goes, oh, man, sit down. Let's talk. Sit down. Let's talk. Let's figure this out. By the way, he calls me same way. It happens, right? It happens. Figure it out. Start using tools to put this together. Do you understand? In a perfect world, there would be that one person who's just so awesome that they could talk to everybody. You know what? I got news for you. I'm not that person. For real. You pull the curtain back, you'd be bummed out. You got a good look at Oz, you'd be bummed out. But this thing of ours, this thing that we have put together, it is better than you think it is. And that ain't no lie. Right? This thing, it really is better than you think it is. There's no, the shoe ain't going to drop. This is just a great group of people. This is pure support of individuals who actually want to help other individuals, right? And it doesn't matter what your trauma is. If that's a hard thing for you to wrap your brain around, then you know what? You're not spending enough time here. Because what you're going to come to realize is that whatever puts you in the boat's the same. Yeah? If you're dropping $250 on a 3-team parlay, or you're buying an 8-ball and a 6-pack, you're trying to get through a day. You're trying to get through a day by using something that releases some brain chemicals. And I got news for you. For some people, they have sex for those brain chemicals, right? There are people who allow themselves to be used. And I'm saying on both sides of that equation, people, I'm not talking about, female versus male. There are people who use their bodies as a way, to feel good about themselves for a period of time. It doesn't matter what you're doing to feel good in increments this big, right? It doesn't matter. What matters is that we all have an idea of we're trying to pull this back in, right? We all want to be better tomorrow than we are today. Yeah? We would all like to be a little bit better tomorrow than we are today. I don't care what put you in there. I don't care what put you in the boat. That's not to be cold-hearted. I mean, I care obviously with every single one of you. It's always been hard, right? It's always been hard. It's a difficult thing. It's a painful thing. But we're here for one another. We really are. We're here for one another. And there's no happy medium. There really isn't. There's no happy medium. I really wish that there were. You know? Maybe someday we're going to figure it out, you know? Maybe someday we're going to figure it out. And when we do, I think that, I don't know, maybe it will be the single greatest thing that ever happened to social media. And I'm not overplaying that. I'm not being a wise guy. I'm really not. But if you had a person who could sit here and talk about a subject matter, and at the same time pay attention to the people that he cares about or she cares about, right? That would be fantastic, right? That would be the dream, so to speak, right? My name is Captain Tommy Scoville. This right here, right? That is a cat in the basket. And tell me that is not just a really, really good-looking cat in a basket, huh? Is that not just a handsome cat? You got to admit, Squirrel Nut Zipper is, I mean, beautiful. Is she not? All right, people. We're going to see you on the next one. I'm Tommy Scoville. Have a great day. Bye-bye.